I don't think I can recall a busier time period since I've been doing this show. I've literally been going nonstop for what seems like a month. And some of it's been pinball related, some of it's been me and Teresa related, some of it's been work related. It's the summertime. It's supposed to be relaxing, having fun, and it has not. It's been lots of fun, but it's not been relaxing. It's been go, 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 go. And that actually continues. But we are going to get this show in tonight. It's episode 178 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast commentary, and I am a man out of quarters. How are you? Welcome back to the show. I'm joining you tonight, not live from my home in San Diego, California. It's Coast to Coast Pinball Studios, as it were, which looks a lot like my office. It is July 13th, a Monday night, and I am glad to be here. It's sort of warm in the Coast to Coast Studios tonight. It's, I don't know, maybe the pinball machines are on. I like to turn the games on when I'm recording, get the ambiance happening around. Metallica is over here just laughing at me. Like I said in the open, lots going on. My work has been so busy. The end of June is the end of the second quarter, and it's a stressful time for folks in sales because you're trying to tie up loose ends, get your numbers, yada yada. We went to Oregon. We did not go to Washington. Plans change. I will not be getting to California Extreme this weekend, unfortunately, but I will be going to Alaska. So we've got that going for us. Teresa and I are taking our honeymoon 1 year late. I guess you could call it a honeymoon. So that's going on. Ton of stuff in pinball going on. I can't even scratch the surface here tonight on the show, but we'll do the best we can. So let's jump right in with some quick things that are on the top of my mind.
5 fast thoughts.
Fast thought number 1. Could I miss the lit crank it up shot, the scoop shot on Metallica any more times? I mean, are there any more chances for me to just brick that shot, miss that shot? Too late, too early, in then out, just over and over I do that. Does that speak to my inability to make a shot under pressure? Is that what that is? I've gotten very good when playing Metallica at lighting Crank It Up. I can light Crank It Up very well. It's hitting the stupid scoop shot. I don't seem to have that problem when I'm just trying to, hit the extra ball shot, same shot, or, just collect the mystery. I can do that on accident all the time. But when I'm trying to hit Crank It Up, I just brick it over and over and over. Fast thought number 2. California Extreme is this weekend. I should be joined by a returning guest to the show later tonight to discuss said California Extreme, which for a third year in a row I can't go to, which is sort of a bummer. We will see how that goes, but just know that if you're listening to this as their broadcast, California Extreme is happening. Great show, great tournament. You should definitely be attending. On that same sort of front, sticking with show and tournaments, hearing lots of positive feedback about Pintastic New England this past weekend up in Massachusetts. Sounds like that was an amazing event. The vendors were happy. The players were happy. Everybody was happy. Pinball, family, fun for everyone. I hope to make it out there next year. So congrats to them for year number 1, seemingly very successful as it's come to a completion. Fast thought number 3. Do you love Pinside? Do you spend time on Pinside? I know not all of you do, but I bet a large portion of you friendly listeners do spend time on Pinside, and I would just encourage you to support Pinside. Donate to Pinside. Keep that little red heart next to your name. This is not solicited. Nobody from Pinside has asked me to say this, but I was thinking about it today, and donate to Pinside. It'll help that great platform be that great platform for longer and longer, etc., etc. Fast thought number 4. So we've seen the Time Shock cabinet and translite art now, and it's cool. It looks really good. I think Time Shock is either gonna it's one of those weird things. I've been hearing about the Time Shock game, and if you aren't familiar with Time Shock pinball machine, it's based off the video game Time Shock Pinball, and they're building it in reality. So it was a video game first, and now it's going to be a real game. And it's by a company called White Castle Pinball, I believe. I always feel like I'm messing this one up. Silver Castle Pinball. White Castle is just letting you know that I'm hungry at this point. Yeah, sorry, my apologies. White Castle, not Silver Castle. Silver Castle is just a little shinier, more of a metallic cover. White Castle is just greasy and gross and has steamed onions all over it. Silver Castle Pinball. So they're bringing Time Shock to life, and recently, I think a couple weeks ago now, they released a mock-up of the back box. The back box art, and then the cabinet art, and it's cool. It looks good. I'm not an artist. I know what I like and what I don't like. I like this. I definitely like this. It looks like it could have nearly been maybe the next Jersey Jack release. Kind of, I don't know. Maybe the coloring is what does that for me. I saw some criticism of the font they used for Time Shock. I don't know. It seems okay to me. Somebody actually said it looked like a mid-90s PC game artwork, which that was kind of right on the button. I thought very much so. It kind of looks like Myst, or one of those games you would buy in a box and take it home and play in your home computer. So anyway, I just was thinking about that. I'm sure there will be more coming out of Time Shock over the next few months, but I just want to drop that in there. If you haven't seen that, I think Pinball News has it up. It's on Pinside. You can find that. Just Google Time Shock Silver Castle Pinball. You'll find that. Fast thought number 5. How cool is the Archer homebrew pinball project that the Elwin brothers and some other people helping them, I don't actually know who all these people are, or if that person is. I actually was told, and I don't know if it was public or not, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But anyway, I know that the Elwin brothers are pretty public about it. They're building this homebrew Archer pinball machine, and we see a lot of these, but it's kind of cool that Keith Elwin, who is by many people's rankings or mindset maybe the greatest pinball player on the planet, the reigning Papa world champion, is building this pinball machine. It's sort of that weird crossover where I know people that listen to this show, I have the players, I have the sort of the guys like me who are really just into buying and playing the games casually, and then I have the builders and hobbyist types, and to have this person like Keith sort of crossing all across all of it is pretty interesting and pretty neat. So if you haven't seen the Archer homebrew thing, and maybe you didn't click on it because you're not so into homebrew games, and I will tell you, I am probably guilty of avoiding some of the homebrew projects a little bit because they all just sort of look the same to me after a while, and it's not until you see something that really pops out like this Archer project is popping out that I find myself very interested. So check that out. I think that's very cool, and just the fact that Keith Elwin's involved, I think, has an interesting twist to it. So there's 5 fast thoughts for this Monday, July 13th.
Forum static.
All right, in forum static tonight, I want to revisit the thread. I think I mentioned this a couple shows ago. If I didn't, I thought about it a lot. Highway Pinball Ships games. So if I mentioned it before, I'm following up. If I didn't, then landmark moment, Highway Pinball Ships games. They come to the land of the legitimate. They are now across that threshold of not just telling you and not just showing you, but actually delivering. And that's a big deal. This community, pinball, we're pretty forgiving. If you'll just ship the game that we paid for, we're going to support you, right? Am I speaking too broadly for too many people? Okay, I will support you. If you take money from people and then ship them a machine, I support you. So this is a big deal. Full Throttle got really good reviews this weekend at Pintastic in New England. The screen in the playfield changed from last time I saw it, I believe. It's now a wider, like a widescreen resolution screen. So it's sort of a late change. They have picked up a Canadian distributor. Nitro Amusements over on the western side of Canada is now the official Canadian distributor for Highway Pinball. There are games leaving the factory. This is a legitimate factory. You guys remember when Andrew Highway came on this show, he was talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, did I say in hundreds? Of pinball machines being built every month. They have Game 2 in the works. It's Alien. Alien's going to be a huge seller for them. I don't even care what it looks like. I think Auric Lawson will do a fantastic job as the art director, but I don't think it, okay, so to a degree it matters, but what I'm saying is that theme will sell games, and if the game looks good and plays good, it's going to sell a ton of games. So, Full Throttle hasn't been my favorite theme. Doesn't excite me. The gameplay is fast. I like that. There's new things going on. There's a screen in a different spot. I like all that. But most importantly, more than anything else, they're shipping games. There's games leaving the Highway Pinball Factory. And that's a big deal. You know, if you go back 3 years ago and look at what was happening, it was before the Wizard of Oz were shipping. It was Predator money was out there. John Papaduke was building these crazy expensive games. I don't think anybody would have thought in the summer of 2015 that Spooky Pinball would have sold out of their first game, sold out on at least interest in their second game. Andrew Highway would have a company with game number 1 rolling out, game number 2 just waiting to blow up, because if you don't think Alien Pinball is going to be a big, big story when it hits, when we see this game, you're crazy. That's going to be a big deal. That's the kind of theme that it excites people. It gets people going. And I think it's been a brilliant move to bring someone like Arik in to do artwork. He's totally integrated into the scene already, so I think that lends a bit of trust to the company, but none of that matters. The fact that they're actually shipping games, that's the biggest deal. So follow this thread on Pinside. It's Highway ships games. It's a big deal. I can't wait to see unboxings. You know, look, and remember, you can buy Full Throttle and then buy a kit, a playfield swappable kit for Alien, or a playfield swappable kit for game number 3 or game number 4. It's exciting. This is a big story, and I hope that I hope nothing but success for Highway Pinball. I hope they make a ton of money selling pinball machines, and I hope the people that buy these pinball machines have a ton of fun playing the pinball machines. You know, I can say that Full Throttle's not my favorite theme, or I can say that Alien Pinball's an amazing theme all I want. Pinball is great. All pinball is good. And that will foreshadow a little D-list action we've got later for you in the show. But I think it's a big deal, and we've got another company shipping paid-for games in pinball in 2015. I think that's awesome. Also in Forum Static, speaking of companies, so there's some turmoil, as there always is, with, you know, pinball companies and games being shipped. And Jersey Jack Pinball has had a fair amount of delays on The Hobbit. I think we know that. We are unfortunately probably going to be almost to another expo, or at least to expo by the time they really start getting games of The Hobbit out. It sounds like they're talking a few months from now, which probably puts us into the fall. And that's okay. I until I hear otherwise, I got to give Jersey Jack their due. They shipped Wizard of Oz. The game has had its fair share of challenges, as would be expected by a first game. But overall, solid effort for game number 1. The people that own that game seem to love that game. The majority. Not everybody, of course, but the majority of people love it. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. I think there's a ton of stuff going for it. The rule set's amazing. The LCD animations and screen and all that is just amazing. I love that they went big. I actually, if you said, Nate, start a pinball company, I would say, okay, I'm going to make a $10,000 game. And I know that goes against what me as Nate the buyer wants, because, you see me, I'm not looking to spend 10 grand. But if I was going to enter into this thing, I would probably build expensive, crazy, awesome games if I thought I could do it profitably, of course. That's the whole caveat, which is the secret to all of this. Bah, ha, 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 ha. But anyway. But the Hobbit's taking a long time. And Jack has been doing his best, I think, to sort of tell you why. There's been delays, there's been parts problems, there's been art changes, etc., etc., etc. Someday we'll know the whole story, I suppose. However, what I did not like Jack popping into the John Papaduke thread a week or so ago. And kind of, I think if you've seen this thread, I think a lot of people saw a ton of action all of a sudden hit the J-Pop thread. J-Pop had died down a bit, and then Jack posted apparently on a private Jersey Jack forum, or maybe it was a public Jersey Jack forum, which got reposted to Pinside, and I'm hoping what he wrote was sort of how do I say this and be somewhat fair here? I hope what Jack wrote was really just in the moment and was just thinking about, personalizing what he was seeing, because we have seen John Papaduke go from John Papaduke on a pedestal, creator of fantastic, beautiful games, to John Papaduke stole my money and can't run a business, and much worse stuff was said about John Papaduke. So if you are, say, you're Jersey Jack, and you see that, and let's be really clear here, Jack has taken a lot of criticism on the internet. Some of it I think deserved, not personally. The company. This is not a personal thing to me. It's about the company and the business. Some of it deserved, and I think some of it not deserved. I think they have some people who just sort of rooted for them to fall on their face for whatever reason. But I believe that was the case. So Jack tells a story about going to meet John and seeing what could happen, and Jack came away from the John Papaduke offices like I think a lot of people did. And like I have when I've met John. Everybody likes John. I like John. John the person. If I meet John the person in chat pinball, he's a quirky, artistic guy who has ideas in his head that I think are different than most of the people walking around, and that's cool. I'm drawn to that. And Jack watched this fall, and it happened fairly quickly, because it wasn't that long ago that the J-pop story had not blown up, right? And Jack watched that, and he's someone who's taken this criticism. And I think he felt really sorry for John the person. But the problem is, when Jack chose to sort of voice these opinions, how he felt so sorry for John the person, I think he confused the business side of it. Because John the businessman doesn't get any breaks, in my opinion. John the businessman screwed this up really, really badly. John isn't really a businessman. John's a creative mind. And you can take that down the tangent roads of pinball designer, art director, whatever you want to, but not really much of a businessman. Let's be clear here. Jack, I think, just felt sorry for this person who also loves pinball. These are two guys who love pinball, and we're trying to make pinball. And making pinball is hard. Trademark. And I think I think Jack just felt really bad for him and typed this set of paragraphs that I think we're actually pretty unfortunate, because in that there was some crossfire. He sort of mentions things like, posters on Pinside and Threads tearing John apart as being some of the reasons J-pop failed. And I call nonsense on that. The people on the internet are not why John Papaduke is where he is. John Papaduke is where he is because he didn't have a business plan and he didn't execute whatever plans he did have. It's not because John Papaduke's a bad guy. It's not because John Papaduke's, I think, trying to scam anybody. I don't believe any of that. My commentary. I just believe he's not a businessman. And I don't think he works well with others. I believe that because I think if he worked really well with others, his games would be being made by somebody else right now. But that's not happening. So I think Jack felt sorry for him, and I think Jack probably had read enough of his criticism in this moment, up to that moment, and kind of fired something off. And I thought it was awfully unfortunate. I didn't agree with a lot of it. I see where he was coming from. I totally get it. It's the human element. It's the, man, lay off, because I think there were definitely some attacks on, hey, both John Papaduke, Kevin Kulik, others, that I think went too far. And it is business, and sometimes the personal thing crosses a line. So however, I would say it's disappointing to see someone who has a bunch of our money, and I'm not my money, just to be on the record here, a bunch of the community's money already. There's a bunch of Hobbit money paid in. It's unfortunate to see that person whose company is being financed, for the most part, or at least in a large part, on the backs and in the wallets of people, in this community on Pinside. It's unfortunate for him to sort of forget that for a minute and throw some of that back out there. And just, I gotta say, as well-meaning as you can be, and I've had to do this a couple times on this show, sometimes it's best to just stay out of it and not go there. I have no problem, voice your opinion all you want, but be ready for the backlash, just like I probably am right now. I would just say that I agreed with Jack's idea there that it's a shame and it's too bad. But as far as the business side of it goes, I think John's sort of getting what he deserves at this point. So I would really encourage anybody working on a project to not look at, not chime in too deeply on other projects that there's a lot of cross customers and things like that, because it gets really sticky there, if you know what I'm saying. So I didn't really want to touch on this, but it's just been big, and I got some emails asking me what I thought about it, and well, that is what it is. So anyway, that's that for tonight. So Ed Robertson and the Bare Naked Ladies are out on tour, on the Silverball Tour, barnstorming America. Let's check in with Mr. Robertson somewhere out in the world.
Call the people.
Welcome back to Coast2Coast Pinball, Mr. Ed Robertson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Nate.
You're like on the road.
I am on the road. I am on the road playing rock shows in a different town every night, and also doing my best to seek out whatever pinball I can find.
How has the search for pinball across the United States on the Silverball Tour been so far?
Well, I gotta say, pretty good. I've found some pretty great spots. Lots of generous pinsiders have been reaching out and offering me places to play as well.
Yeah, once
so
you reach out to
great.
us as a friendly pinhead, we will never leave you alone. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're stuck with us now.
That's good. I like that.
So I actually know the answer to this question, but I think you got to visit SS Billiards, correct?
I did indeed. It was a pilgrimage of sorts.
So trip report from Ed Robertson. Tell me about SS Billiards.
I actually hit 2 places in one night there. I went to the bowling alley that was up north of town, which had an incredible collection of pins. What was the name of that place? You might remember it.
I knew on the day you asked me, but now I can't.
Oh, what was that place?
I have it. I'll find it very quickly.
It's north of Minneapolis. Like, I took an Uber car.
Blainbrook Entertainment Center.
That's it. I went up there, and man, they have an incredible collection. Their pins are in amazing shape. And there was like me, and there were like 2 dudes strictly playing the EM machines in there. And I just had like bank after bank of super high quality solid states and DMDs all to myself.
Minneapolis has a scene. That's good. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah. Then after I played things out there, I made a pilgrimage. You see, I was part of the Kickstarter to help Lloyd with his renovations there at SS Billiards, so I wanted to go down and see how things were there. And that is an old school pinball arcade in a tiny little plaza out in the middle of nowhere west of Minneapolis. I had a great time there. I actually bought a pin there.
That's the story. I got photos of this game shoved underneath the tour bus on the Bare Naked Ladies tour. What'd you buy?
I bought a Bounty Hunter, which is a 1984 machine from Gottlieb Premier. And it's just got this awesome art, really fun, simple layout. And it's got this timed drop target that it's Cactus Sam, I think. And he's a dangerous character, and he pops up and the music gets really scary, and you have like 6 seconds to hit him or he goes back down again to continue his murderous rampage through the idealized Wild West.
You know, I gotta say, have you Googled and seen the, what do they call it, the flyer that was put out for Bounty Hunter?
I have indeed.
Maybe one of the coolest flyers ever, with the comic book of Bounty Hunter on the back.
Yeah, It's badass, right?
I was pretty jealous when you let me know you had that. I was like, wait a minute, I don't even know what that game is. And the more I looked it up, I'm like, oh man, rare too. They only made like 1,200 of those things.
I had never heard of it, and I was really taken by the art. And the flipper was a little bit busted, but I still enjoyed playing it. And another guy who was in the arcade at the time, this guy Greg, said, "Hey, I've got one of those folded in a warehouse. I should probably just get rid of it because I'll probably never get a chance to set it up." And I said, "Well, if you want to sell it, let me know." And Lloyd chimed in and said, "Well, actually, this one's for sale if you want it." And I loaded it onto the tour bus.
Oh, Lloyd the Great. I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, that is fantastic. Any other really good pinball highlights on the tour? You've been all over the place. I'm looking at these past tour dates. You've kind of crisscrossed the top part of this country.
Yeah, I had an amazing time just outside of, let me think, I was in Council Bluffs. And Council Bluffs is right across the border from Omaha, I think.
So that's like Iowa and Nebraska. Yeah, Iowa, Nebraska. Right?
Yeah. So, again, I jumped in an Uber car and went across to the Omaha side, and there was a fantastic arcade over there. I'm like frantically looking through my pictures, trying to remember the name of this arcade that I visited. I'm being a horrible guest right now, aren't I, Nate?
No,
I should have been more prepared.
I mean, I texted you like 2 minutes ago, like, "Hey, what's up, Ed? Are you awake?"
Yeah, and I just finished a show in Nashville. I just got to a hotel room. I'm flying home for a day off tomorrow.
Oh, good for you.
And then I've got to go down to Texas. Okay, wait. I found these pictures. Beercade. That's what the place was called.
Beercade. I have not heard of that one.
Oh, Beercade was fantastic. They had about, I'm counting in my pictures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 12 pins, and in really nice shape.
Place looks beautiful. I found it on the web. It's in Omaha. Yeah, you're right.
Owner and manager did all the work. Yeah, it's in Omaha. They do like craft beers, interesting beers, and they have a gorgeous pin collection, and they have some arcade games as well. They don't serve food, but they let you bring food in from it's like a really nice little strip of restaurants and things there.
It's like BYOT, bring your own taco.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the coolest little design elements of the place is they have all this large-scale tile work that kind of looks like 8-bit or 16-bit graphics from old like Nintendo games. So they have this big tile mosaic behind the bar that says Beercade, and it actually looks like a level out of a Mario Brothers game. And they have a tile work mosaic on the bathroom of Link, to let you know that that's the boys' room, and of the princess from Zelda to let you know that that's the women's room. Pretty fantastic place.
That's awesome. So how many times have you been out playing pinball and been noticed as the guy from the Bare Naked Ladies?
I usually get noticed when I go out to play, but people are always just really friendly, and they say, "Hey, we really liked that video you did, and thanks for championing pinball," that sort of thing. Nobody ever bothers me. People say hi, but that doesn't bother me.
No, I mean, what would they do? Like taunt you? Like, "Hey, man, you can't really play."
I find people either like my band or they just don't care. And it's perfect.
That's good. So I woke up one morning at my mom's house in the metropolitan mecca that is Adrian, Oregon, population 350. And the television was on, and there was your smiling, beautiful face on my television on the Today Show, and I kind of laughed and thought that was funny. So you did the New York City run promoting the album, played a show, and we were texting. Where did you end up going and playing? Did you get some pinball in the city?
I did, actually. I visited Modern Pinball while I was in New York. I met my friend Dave Smith, who had come down from Toronto to catch the BNL show in New York, and I had an afternoon free. My wife went to see a Broadway play, and I met Dave Smith at Modern, and and had a little mini tournament, a little mono.
Did you win?
We played for $1, and I left with the $1.
Oh,
and it was Dave Smith's $1, and I still have it.
There you go.
So I won.
There you won. That's a win any day of the week. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to keep this fairly brief tonight. I appreciate you staying up late and coming on the show. Where are we going next? You're going to Texas, which, trust me, it'll be really nice and cool in Texas in July. Good scheduling there. I think that was a good move.
Yeah.
Let's see, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Las Vegas, and then, of course, San Diego right when I go to Alaska, so we don't get to have the Metallica tournament game that I challenge you to a duel on.
Oh, anytime, Nate.
It'll
whenever
happen.
whenever you're ready to lose whatever left, take me on in Metallica.
I want to see your band and play you in pinball in Medicine Hat. That is what I want in life. I want to go to Medicine Hat.
Medicine Hat, Alberta.
I don't even exactly know where.
Up, man.
I don't know where or what that is exactly, but I know you're playing in Medicine Hat, so I'd like to.
Yeah, it's sort of between Red Deer and Head Smashed in Buffalo Jump, which is an actual place. Listeners, look it up. You know what? I'm excited about the next week because I'm going to Dallas, where I've arranged to pick up a machine that I've been lusting after for quite some time. I'm getting a Shadow pinball machine, which I'm very excited about.
What translates in the Shadow? Is it the original, or is it something new and off the books?
No, it's off the books. It's an alternate translate. I'm quite excited about
I like that.
it. I've already approached Auric, though, about his translate, which looks quite cool. He may be doing another run of those, so that's exciting. Then I go from Dallas to Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, home of Walter White, yes.
Yes, and home of the Measle family, where I will be meeting up with the Measle Mods folks, playing some pinball and checking out their little establishment there.
You know what? There's another pinball podcast based partly out of Albuquerque. You could really whore yourself out to the pinball podcast.
Well, I just might do that. And then, where do I go? San Diego, home of the company you work for.
I love that you skip Las Vegas. Of all the cities in the world to just skip over, you're like, San Diego.
We're going there after. San Diego.
Not according to your website. Not according to your website.
My website doesn't know everything. We're playing on the roof of the Cosmopolitan Hotel.
That's pretty awesome.
I will be visiting the Pinball Hall of Fame while I'm there.
That's pretty awesome. That's a good gig if you can get it, playing on the roof at the Boulevard Pool at the Cosmopolitan.
That's exactly where we'll be with the Violent Femmes and Colin Hay.
This was my whole thought when I saw, I won't be here for the San Diego show. I thought, when are they playing in Vegas? Oh, same weekend. I can't make it either. Oh, such is life. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck on your Southwestern run. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Did you and I talk about maybe throwing a pair of tickets out to a listener of the show? Did I imagine that, or is that real?
No, I'm happy to do that.
All right. I don't do contests on the show because, frankly, I don't want to keep up with it. But for Ed Robertson, we're going to do a contest. But I really want whoever wins this to actually go to the show. So if you're listening to the show, go to their website, barenakedladies.com/tour, and find the shows. And they're playing the Southwest. They're playing all over England and back up in Canada, all the way through the end of the year, it looks like.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be in an area where they're coming and you'd like to go to the show, email me a nice message and I'll have Teresa randomly pick one, and Ed will get you into the show.
Perfect. Done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome of you to do. And
no sweat.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on tonight. I'm going to edit this show and get it out, and then get back to sleep and stuff. So, thank you very much for coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, nice talking to you, Nate.
Welcome to the D-List.
What? We still do this? This makes everybody mad. Every time I do this, it's been a long time, I make somebody mad. So let's make somebody mad tonight. I will remind you before we welcome another game to the D-List. Let's talk about what the D-List is. The D-List is the games that just missed. And they might have missed because of theme. They might have missed because the game was a dud the way it played. Might have been some combination of art and just bad ideas. There's lots of reasons you could bring a game to the D-list in my world. But remember, folks, all pinball is good pinball. If I'm on a desert island and you give me Super Mario Brothers, which I think was the first game on the D-list, I'm still going to love it. I'm going to love that pinball, that Super Mario Brothers pinball. Like, I'm gonna hug it before I go to sleep. I'm going to sleep underneath it. I'm going to store my valuables inside of it. All pinball is good pinball. However, we have the D-list. And I'm not even saying that these games are necessarily, like, horrible or avoid them, but they're just the D-list. And they should be thought of accordingly. I think they should be priced accordingly. And, you know, I got to do something on this show, right? All right, so here we go. We're welcoming a 90s Bally Williams game to the D-list. I don't think any of you guys ever would have expected that to happen, right? Why would I do that? We're welcoming a Barry Orsler. Gosh, I wish I could say his name right just one time, the first time out. A Barry Orsler game to the D-list. I don't think you would have thought that. Actually, I might have already done that before. We're a Python Angelo worked on game is coming to the D-list. And it's a super pin. It's a wide body game. Popeye Saves the Earth. I welcome you to the D-list. Right? I know you're nodding your head, right? If you didn't already know what it was based on the artwork for the show or something, all of you are thinking, oh yeah, Popeye. Or you haven't played it. So let's run down some stuff about Popeye, because I did my research on Popeye Saves the Earth. Popeye Saves the Earth, it was released in 1994. They built about 4,200 of these games. It is a super pin. It is a wide body pinball machine, right? Twilight Zone is a super pin. Indiana Jones, a super pin. Judge Dredd, a super pin. Star Trek The Next Generation. Demolition Man. And Roadshow. Even Roadshow, which I'm not the hugest fan of Roadshow. Super pin. Popeye Saves the Earth, the other super pin. Labeled a Bally game, as they were labeling many of the licensed themes as Bally at that point in time. Currently, this game on the Pinside Top 100, 200, and yes, we need to extend to 300, ranks at number 274. Number 274 on the Pinside Top 100 list. Every other super pin, all of them, are in the top 100 on the Pinside Top 100 pinball machines, ranked by you and you and you and you. All of them are in the top 100. Popeye Saves the Earth isn't in the top 200. 274. Barry Orsler designed this with Python Angelo, and if you go back and look at like what people wrote about this game over the years, you know that Python Angelo had quite a bit of influence in this game. Some people say that this game is like the baby of Pinball Circus. Like maybe this is the embryo where Pinball Circus was born out of, possibly. John Yowsey did the artwork. And this artwork's funny. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's Popeye, right? A first-class passage to profit. That's one of the slogans of Popeye Saves the Earth. So, if you aren't real familiar with Popeye the Sailor Man, it was a cartoon. I used to love it when I was a kid. Popeye fought Bluto and saved olive oil, and he had a buddy who ate hamburgers or something, and there was spinach involved. They went with a very odd take on the Popeye theme for Popeye Saves the Earth. And I have no idea why they chose to do this. But instead of doing, Popeye saves olive oil, no, Popeye's saving the Earth. And specifically, he's saving the Earth from a very bad set of companies owned by Bluto, his nemesis, who's polluting the Earth. And so you have to rescue the rhinoceros, the zebra, the panda, the leopard, the eagle, and the dolphin, and save them from extinction. You have to battle the sea hag. Help Sweet Pea. I thought it was olive oil. Is it Sweet Pea? I'm so confused. Anyway, out of the maze, and then you do something in multi-ball to save olive oil. There it goes. Yeah, olive in hectic multi-ball. I don't know. they went with this weird, like, environmental version of Popeye. Like, I never knew Popeye to be, like, a big, like, Greenpeace type guy. And I didn't know Bluto owned a bunch of companies, let alone a bunch of really bad polluting companies. Did you know that? I did not know that. Sweet Pea is apparently... I can't remember who Sweet Pea is. I'm very confused by that. So you had this geo map, and you had to, like, follow around the map and save all the animals from Pandemonia, Sushi Sea, Legoland. Very confusing, and it didn't connect. This theme did not connect. If you go back and read what some of the stuff back on RGP... said this game was sort of forced on distributors. This game bought bad ill will with distributors. This is the game that came after Star Trek The Next Generation, and this thing bombed. Did not earn well, didn't play in Europe whatsoever, confusing. So, okay, the theme's not that great, right? That's one thing. It's this Super Pin wide body, so the artwork's got to be amazing, right? Well, it depends on what you think. It's a big ship, it's a big boat. And you have a lot of this, like, tan-colored wood decking on the playfield, which, I don't know, it's okay looking, not my favorite. I actually really like the side art on this game, because it's like the big cruise ship with all the animals and Popeye sailing with the moon above it. I like that. The back glass, not a real fan of. Popeye's arms are flippers. It's okay. He's hitting pinballs into Bluto's face. It's okay. But when you walk up to Popeye Saves the Earth, you just got this giant Bluto head right in your face, and his arms are on the playfield reaching out, and the upper deck of the ship is above him, and it blocks a lot of the shots. You can't see stuff in this game. That's where I start really having a problem with Popeye, is there's all this stuff hanging over the playfield, and I can't see anything. I don't like it. You know, it's one of those games that I didn't play for a long time. Even after I was probably doing this show, it took me a while to find one of these. And there is one at the Pinball Wizard in Pelham, New Hampshire, and it's in really good shape. And I've played it, and I've tried to like it, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan. So that's just my opinion, right? That's just some guy with a podcast. I'm going to read you a little interview with Mr. Barry Orsler, who designed this thing. The interviewee, and I forget where I got this interview question, but I'll read this to you. Popeye doesn't get much credit from the pinball collectors. I guess back then you were building for the coin-op market rather than thinking we'd be collecting them in our homes all these years later. Were you happy with the machine at the time? That was the question to Barry. And here's Barry's answer. Not really. Management wanted me to do another game with Python to try and capture the magic we had with previous collaborations. I wasn't too happy with the theme or the drawings that he had created. It was another scenario where the artwork was done first. I reluctantly agreed due to pressure from, air quotes, above. I think it was one of my two least favorite games that I designed, the other being Bad Cats. And I know I got some Bad Cats fans that listen to this show, so sorry Barry didn't like Bad Cats either. But Bad Cats is at least listed in like the top 150 on Pinside. So I'll always say it. All pinball is good pinball. But I cannot help Popeye Saves the Earth. I can't save Popeye from Popeye Saves the Earth. And I have to tonight welcome Popeye Saves the Earth to the D-list.
Call the people.
Welcoming back to Coast to Coast Pinball, Mark Zarnowski? Correct me. Zarnowski. I had it right the first time. How many times have you been on the show?
Well, I was on one of your very early shows, probably like the 15th or something, where you did the call-in or call people.
Oh, what a nightmare. Everyone hated that.
Everyone hated that,
yeah. Nobody liked that.
And I've been on for Midwest Gaming Classic 2014 and 2015. So this is
your
probably the
fourth time?
Yep.
Wow. You're a veteran, Mark. Mark, for those of you who don't know you, we're going to talk about California Stream in a little bit. But first I want to talk about the Chicago Street Pinball Arcade in Joliet, Illinois. Tell me about that, because that's your pinball hall.
This is indeed my pinball hall, and actually this coming weekend will be our first anniversary, first year of operations. So it's something that I'd worked on for a while and finally got it going. And we're only open, just weekends right now, but we're working on a liquor license, which is close. So hopefully we'll be more of a barcade pretty soon. And as of this this session right now that we're speaking together, we are the second largest pinball arcade in Illinois, and we'll soon be the first.
What's it like getting filthy rich in pinball, Mark? Tell me about that.
Oh, it's so glamorous. It's spending a lot of time, hoping people walk in and having a room full of machines and paying bills and utilities and insurance and all that good stuff.
So how many games do you have at the Chicago Street Pinball Arcade?
Approximately, and I'm saying this because it just changed the other day, I think we have 36 or 37 or 38.
That's really good. So you're going to be the second biggest in Illinois. That includes all of Chicago. Who's bigger then? Logan's?
No, we actually have more pinball machines than all the barcades in the city of Chicago and the outlying area. The only place that's bigger right now is CP Pinball, which is just outside of St. Louis on the other side of the Mississippi River.
Big scene in St. Louis. Yeah, is that in East St. Louis?
It's close.
Close?
It's, yeah. I mean, it's the same metropolitan area, but he's only part-time, and I believe he's shutting down operations, at least for the public, in the near future. So that's why I say.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So, wow. Well, congratulations to you guys. That's a lot of games. What is your biggest earning game? I must know. I'm really not trying to infringe on the Coinbox Pinball Podcast. Hats off to those guys. Said super nice things about me, and I'm not trying to infringe, but I am going to ask you, what's your biggest earning game?
Well, kind of tough to answer because we work on admission.
Oh, what gets the most plays then?
But I can tell you just by looking at stats. We have everything from machines from the late 60s to brand new Stearns, and we rotate stuff in and out. But consistently, the best earning, I wouldn't say best earning, but most played games with admission, Metallica, Bride of Pinbot, I'd say definitely those two.
Really? Bride of Pinbot?
Yep.
Interesting. Are you buying all the new Stearns, or are you picking and choosing?
Picking and choosing, and I'm also alternating with my route downstate here in Champaign, Illinois, which is about 2 hours south of Joliet. So basically what happens when the machine is brand new, we may have it in Joliet for a launch party, but I need to make real money, like on the street. So it comes down here for, at least a few months. I have a few locations where it hopefully will earn a significant percentage of the purchase price back, and then once it gets old, it'll get rotated up through Joliet.
Very cool. I mean, getting alcohol, I guess, will be a pretty big thing for you guys, I would imagine.
It's huge, and I have no delusions about this. I mean, well before we opened it and the idea even came about, I said, arcades these days just don't make it. It's going to have at least alcohol and maybe food in addition to that. So it was kind of proof of concept for a while as a part-time thing, and me living downstate, I have one very part-time person that helps me here and there and opens for me on Fridays because I'm commuting every weekend, and it's really tough to make it work more than 2 days a week right now, except for like special occasions when we have a parade downtown or a rental or something like that.
For friendly listeners to Coast2Coast Pinball that don't know where Joliet is, how far are you from like downtown Chicago?
Almost exactly 40 miles southwest of the Loop in Chicago. You can actually take the Metro commuter train. There's two lines that go from Chicago, and the end of the line is Joliet, and another line that comes through Joliet.
Is there a jackpot at the end of the line?
Jackpot.
Do you see what I did there?
I got it. End of the line.
Just
No.
Yeah.
We also have an Amtrak train that goes from Chicago to St. Louis, which is where high-speed rail is coming through in the near future, but that's the third train line. So anyway, we're sort of part of the Chicago area, statistically speaking. It is. Back in the day, it was considered kind of a distant town, but now with urban sprawl and all that kind of thing, Joliet is part of the Chicago area, but it's pretty much as far as you're going to go and still be considered part of it.
But you're also like part of the Gary, Indiana suburbs, for that matter, I would say. I guess I'm kidding.
But we're much nicer than Gary.
Oh, I believe that to be true. Well, good. Well, if you guys are out in the the Chicagoland era, Aurora can't be far, right? I know my Chicago a little bit.
That's true. Aurora is kind of similar distance, but more straight west, and we're southwest.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so if you're out in that area and looking for a pinball, there's 30-some games you can play like all day Friday or Saturday for $10.
$10 for adults, $6 for kids.
Open 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. See, I know my stats, Mark.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we'll be open more than that soon.
You can check out JolietPinball.com for that. Moving on. Mark, you go to a lot of shows. You and I met because of the Midwest Gaming Classic.
True.
And then you've been trying to get me to come out to California Extreme.
True.
And I have not been able to make that happen. I'm going to Alaska Extreme. Probably not much pinball on my trip. Let's talk about California Extreme. It's actually one of the, I hate to use the word biggest because that could be measured in so many different ways, but it's certainly one of the most active and a long-running show based around not just pinball, but I guess arcade as well. How long have you been going to California Extreme?
My first year was 2011, and my first year helping with the show was 2013, so 2 years ago.
So you're one of those guys that clicked on the volunteer page and actually signed up to volunteer at the show, right?
I did. I signed up for something like a 2-hour time slot for setup on a Thursday because it takes 2 days to set up the show, and end up staying for the whole day and all Friday and tear down.
Fantastic. How would you compare the show to the Midwest Gaming Classic?
There are some similarities. One, they're very large shows in pretty large metropolitan areas. Milwaukee, obviously, it's not huge, but it's only 90 miles from Chicago, whereas California Extreme is right in the heart of Silicon Valley, right there in Santa Clara, San Jose, and you have San Francisco and a whole bunch of other cities out there, Oakland, that are large. They both have a lot of games, and they both have seminars. Outside of that, they're quite a bit different. All California Extreme has, not in a negative way, it's all coin-op, pinball, and video arcade games.
So this show takes place this weekend, July 18th and 19th. It's at the Hyatt Regency in Santa Clara. I think a lot of people listening to the show who have not spent a lot of time in California on the West Coast are listening to this thinking, Nate, you're in California. Why can't you just get there? It's a long ways. It's a long ways from San Diego. How many games do you suspect, pinball, because I don't care about video games, how many pinball games do you think are going to be at California Extreme?
I think right now the guesstimate is somewhere around 275.
That's a lot of pinball machines.
Yeah.
That's really good. This is a Papa Circuit tournament stop as well. So there is a really well-run, healthy game at California Extreme. I believe if Carl D'Angelo does not run this, I know his software runs it. So if you're into that, there's also things like Street Fighter 2 tournaments, Donkey Kong tournaments. Do you play the video games, Mark?
I do, and we can't ignore that because if you combine...
Oh, I can ignore it. Trust me, I can ignore it.
If you combine both the video arcade pieces and pinball and some of the novelty pieces, we have close to 600 machines total on the floor.
That is a big show. It's a very big show. Who are the organizers of this show? Because I know a lot of people that do these shows. I don't know anybody from California Extreme.
Well, there are several people, and I never even know who the original organizer is because I've asked that question, and I've never been told, well, I'm not the original, but I've been part of it for the last X amount of years. But I can tell you Ken Chaney and TJ Beyer are huge parts of it, and I'm pretty sure Ken was around since the very first show in the late 90s.
Well, hats off to those gentlemen. I'm really bummed I can't go to the show. I wanted to kind of run down real quick, if you don't mind, some of the pinball-related speakers and seminars that are going to be going. There's going to be a brief history of gambling pinballs versus amusement pinballs, and the influence of one on the other with John Osborne. Have you met John Osborne?
Years ago, at Pinball Expo, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a cool one. I like that one. These are, I think, Saturday sessions. There's also Aaron and Brian Madden from Fast Pinball. Aaron Davis, Brian Madden from Fast Pinball and Mission Pinball will be there updating everyone on their software and their hardware, which is cool. They're going to be David Thiel, who I hope to have on Coast2Coast Pinball at some point in the not-too-distant future, who's done sound for pinball and video games, I believe, working at Gottlieb and IT, Incredible Technologies, Data East, and Stern, and currently, believe, working on The Hobbit, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so David Thiel will be there. That's good. Jerry Stellenberg, recent guest on my not show, but my hosting of a seminar in Atlanta. Jerry Stellenberg with P3, Lexi Lightspeed. Butch from Jersey Jack Pinball will be there. I don't think Jack's making this one. And what else we got? Am I missing something big?
I think we're going to lead it off with a similar show. This is where I'm helping out with this year, to the Gottlieb Video Game Alumni Crew.
Oh, like from Midwest Gaming Classic.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
what we're going to do is a West Coast version of the show. It's not going to be quite the same. We'll have most of the same people with a slightly different focus. And since, the ones at MGC were not recorded or streamed, this will probably be 99% new audience. And
Nice.
David will be there, obviously, which is why he's taking part in the other presentations, because we got him out here for this. And he's like, what else can I do? I'm like, well, Jersey Jack's out here. Well, let me talk to Butch. Okay. He'll take part in Butch's seminar with JJP. And
Perfect.
And he volunteered to do his own, which is going to be great. And also, for the people out there that did see the Jersey Jack seminar, either live or streaming from Tacoma, it's going to be a slightly different focus for David on his work on The Hobbit. It'll be the same topic, being The Hobbit, but a different presentation.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Let's see. Vendors. Do you have any idea on the vendor list? I know there's a bunch that go to this show. This is a really good show for vendors, right?
It is a pretty big show. The only one I know for sure is because they're there every year and they put out a great show is Marco, and they'll have the pinball machine set up there in their huge, fabulous booth.
So a lot of people are going to get to play Kiss out here on the West Coast, probably for the first time, I would say, at this show.
Yep, although we did have it in Tacoma.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Another show I really wanted to go to. So I think this is $60 for the weekend. If you're like an adult, one day is, I think Saturday's $40. Check out caextreme.org if you're listening to this show in the week of July 13th through the 17th. That show is this weekend on the 18th and 19th. What else is going on, Mark? Have you played Kiss?
I've played it a few times, and that was, when we're setting up and or tearing down over at the Northwest show in Tacoma. So I have not played it since the more improved code has dropped, but it was really fun. I just playing an early version of the code. I didn't think I was going to like it. I just stood there and looked at the machine before anything else. Like, wow, this looks fantastic. So playing it is pretty fun. The only thing that's frustrating that a lot of people have mentioned is the draining from the tongue.
Yeah, I did see some of that. I agree. It looks good, and it does play good. It has a great feel to it. Did you notice the flippers feeling different? I've had some emails on that. People asking me, are they I think Spike maybe is using a different flipper set.
Yeah, no, I probably only played a handful of games, not enough to really notice. Oh, I forgot. I also did play Kiss at the launch party at Logan about 3 weeks ago in Chicago, but not enough to really notice. And the only other game, obviously, that's been out there is WWE, and I've barely played that, so I don't have much of a feedback on that.
I'm just such a spaz when I play new games. I'm just taking it all in. I didn't notice the flippers as much, but I believe they're using more of a Williams feel flipper on these new games with Spike, is what I've been informed. So what else is happening? What's the rest of your year look like? You getting out to any other shows?
Well, this is probably it until Expo. I try to do most of the shows in the Midwest, obviously, because I'm fairly close, within driving distance to most of them, if not all of them. And then on the West Coast, I like hitting up Northwest Show, and then, of course, Pinagogo. Been there this year, and then California Extreme. I used to go to PPE when that was around, but it's still on hiatus.
So let me ask you, a little bit ago on the show, we welcomed Popeye Saves the Earth to the D-list. Valid, fair choice, or not?
Fair choice. Valid.
Fair choice, yeah. You don't have a love affair with Popeye?
No, every once in a while I'll try playing it again, and even if it's set up properly, meaning that when you launch the ball from the shooter lane, whatever that carousel mechanism is that is supposed to launch on the playfield and sometimes just puts it straight in the out lane. Even when that's working properly or set up properly, I just can't see what's going on up there, which bugs a lot of people.
You can't see anything, and that's what I said. See, this is Mark. No, Mark owns a pinball hall. He owns the Chicago Street Pinball Arcade. He would know. Trust in Mark, right?
This is true, and I operate games down here too, so a little bit of both.
Mark, you really run a pinball empire. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Mark is like the godfather of pinball in Illinois nowadays.
I will be. People from Chicago, you need to make the journey out there to Joliet, especially if you're in the south or southwest suburbs. We're not that far away.
I think it's awesome. I'm actually really proud of you because I know how excited you were last year when you opened it up and how sort of scary I think it all was. It's like, hey, so we're in business. I hope that things go well. I hope you get the liquor license. I hope you get maybe food going. That'd be awesome. And I hope it just gets bigger and bigger. That's good to hear. We
do have bigger plans. If this works out, we're in kind of a small space. So everything I've mentioned so far, the 36 to 38 pinball machines. We also have a handful of sit-down driving games, a foosball table, classic video arcade, and a 1968 electromechanical driving game. We're pretty much maxed out both in terms of space and electrical capacity, but we do have our eyes on a building around the corner, which used to be an old apartment store 100 years ago, which was then a furniture store, and has a perfect open layout for a large game room. We do not have space for a lot of stuff, like we have pool tables and air hockey and some other stuff, which would be perfect for there, and still have plenty of space for a small restaurant and bar.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, until we get to chat again, dude, best of luck, and thanks for coming on. I wish we could have gone deeper into California Extreme, but I know that we're getting close to the show, and people are probably at this point either going or not. So I hope you have a ton of fun, and maybe shoot me some text, let me know how it's going, shoot me some photos, see anything cool.
Thanks a lot. Yep, my flight's in less than 48 hours, so
go you.
Be out there a week. It'll be great.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, Mark. Take care.
Thanks, Nate.
All right, that is it. That's episode 178 of Coast to Coast Pinball. I need to address the t-shirt situation. I owe a few people t-shirts that ordered specifically, I believe, size large Navy t-shirts. I reordered them, and my printer emailed me and said they screwed them up, and I'm probably not going to get them before I go on this trip this week. So, if you're listening, and I have your $16, I will get the shirts. But if you'd like your money back, just shoot me an email. I'll gladly refund the money because it's been like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. It's been a long time. It took a while to order them. Once I ordered them, they screwed up. Blah, 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 blah. So I do have a lot of other sizes in shirts. I have lots of the red shirts and yada yada, self-promotion, yada yada. Thanks to Mark for coming on. We're going to do sharpshooting this week, and I might squeeze out one more show before I go on this trip because I will be totally off the radar all of next week for my second summer break. Just the way it played out. Mark did want me to also bring up, because I think Mark believes that this is Coast to Coast video games. Apparently, and this is actually serious, I'm just making fun, there are a ton of rare prototype Atari games that went home with the Bay Area employees back in the day that are actually at California Extreme. So if you're into vintage arcade and want to see some really rare stuff, it's kind of a must-see show. So throw that out there for Mark. I'm going to go try and hit the crank it up shot before bed at least once, so then I can immediately hit one shot on fade to black mode and drain and just walk away with my head hung low, as I tend to do. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the support. We need to do mailbag next show. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
From his humble beginnings as a comic strip hero to his wildly successful television cartoon series, this one-eyed, pipe-wielding sailor man has charmed generations around the world. His witty frankness and his spinach-eating approach to good over evil have earned him universal appeal. Popeye by Bally, charting a course to reach all points of the compass. A classic combination of Americana and technology, setting sail on the high seas of profit.
Well, blow me down.